Welcome to my show, Olio. My name is Susan Rushton, and as always, I get to actually explain what Olio means. One definition is that it's short for olla podrida, which is Spanish for rotten bowl or rotten pot, which I just always get such a kick out of. It's essentially a Portuguese-Spanish dish with essentially everything in the world in it. Pork in all its iterations, pig's feet, pig's ears, bacon, sausage, and chicken, and chickpeas, and garlic, and onions, and spinach. As I said, essentially everything in the world in it, or except Cheerios and grape knee-high. That's one definition. Another definition is that olio is what comes in between acts of a melodrama. So you might have somebody juggling, you might have somebody singing, you might have somebody doing a skit, and none of it has anything to do with anything else, and certainly none of it has anything to do with the melodrama. So in other words, it's apples, oranges, and a monkey wrench. So welcome to my monkey wrench. And my general manager is smiling at me because he likes this introduction. Today, my guest, and when I say today, I mean July 2nd, 2019. And the reason I'm telling you this is that it's important, because this is even though mosquitoes appear all the time, they are doubly in appearance in July. So even though you may not be seeing this in July, keep an eye out for them. And if this is July, keep an eye out for them super. Keep a big eye out for them. My guest is Joel Buettner. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you.
Yeah, and he is General Manager of Placer, Mosquito and Vector Control District. If you want to learn more about what he does, or how to protect yourself from mosquitoes or other vectors, which the definition of which we will discuss, please go online to placermosquito.org, or you can certainly contact him at joelb@placermosquito.org, or there are two phone numbers. The first one looks like toll-free, 888-768-2343 or 916-380-5444. Okay, welcome, Joel. I'm tickled to have you here. Actually, I'm itching. I've been itching to have you here for quite a while. And so, how long have you been involved? How long have you been general manager of the Placer Mosquito and Vector Control District?
Well, thanks for having me, Sue. I've been the general manager for almost 10 years, actually just over 10 years.
Wow, okay. Mm-hmm. What does that involve?
So I run a staff of about 20 to 25, depending on the season, staff. And our mission is to effectively and efficiently protect the public in Placer County from mosquitoes and other vectors and vector-borne disease.
Okay. So, and one way you protect them is spraying, I guess.
We do a whole range of things, which we call integrated vector management. So we keep track of all these different creatures that can harm you, mosquitoes, ticks, yellow jackets. We keep track and detect all the diseases that they might be carrying that could infect people, and horses and other animals. And then we make some science-based decisions on how to minimize that risk for those people in those specific areas.
Okay. How do you make science? How do you lower the risks?
So, to lower the risks, we have to understand the risks first. So it's really about where are these things, where are the mosquitoes, where are the ticks, and what are the risks of them happening across people who might get sick from them.
Okay.
So we do quite a lot of our work doing scientific data collection. So we trap mosquitoes this time of year.
Thank you.
We're trying to figure out, are there more today than there were yesterday, or this week than last week? What kind are there? There's over 30 different species of mosquito in this county alone. So each
30 different species of mosquito. 30 different different species of mosquitoes in Placer County.
Mm-hmm.
How many? I warned you that I would ask you questions that aren't on my list,
right,
that we shared. if there are 30 different species of mosquitoes, you know what I'm going to ask, 30 different species of mosquitoes in Placer, how many are there worldwide?
There's thousands worldwide.
Thousands of species. Wow. Are they all dangerous to me?
Well, that's a really complicated question, actually. All mosquitoes, because they blood feed at some point in their life, obviously they're adult stage, and it's the female of the species only, feed on blood. There is a potential for passing a blood-borne disease or a vector-borne disease with any of those species. Now, it gets much more complicated from there. So
Okay.
you have to have the
All
correct
I really need
mosquito.
to care about is not having this blood-borne disease spread to me,
Right.
or if I have one. Not okay.
And if you don't get bitten by a mosquito, then you don't have to worry about
Okay.
it. So that's really number one. Is we want people to be aware enough to help avoid being bitten by mosquitoes.
Okay.
We do some things, and we also try to get folks to help themselves not get bit by mosquitoes as
Yes.
well.
Okay. So one of the ways. Well, first let's talk about the elephant in the room. Because we've got stuff hidden behind here. What do you have here?
Great. So we have a mosquito life cycle display. So this species of mosquito is one of the two major West Nile vectors in Placer County. So this species is called the northern house mosquito, or Culex pipiens.
Okay.
And they really like habitats in and around your home. So places like storm drains, rain gutters, that water that's still sitting in your wheelbarrow from
Okay.
back when it rained and it's getting all nasty. That's where these guys like to be.
Okay.
They primarily feed on birds, and that's why they're really good at picking up West Nile virus, which is a bird disease. And when they get infected, then they can go and bite a person and
If
transmit
there's not a
that
bird
disease.
around.
Well, they get the disease from the bird,
Yeah.
and then they pass that on to the person.
But mostly they feed on birds.
Correct.
And if there's not a bird around,
They'll feed on other things.
what else is there? Oh, there's a person.
That's right.
Okay. Who hasn't
That's right.
protected herself.
That's right.
So
And
what I see is tiny little things in the water.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, these are living in the water for a while,
Correct.
and then
So those are the mosquito larvae, or the immature stages. So the little things that wriggle back and forth. That one of their common names are wrigglers. And,
Really?
Yeah.
okay.
And it goes that's about 100 years old, that word. And they swim in the water. They feed on plankton and black bacteria and things like that. And they periodically have to go to the surface of the water to breathe. So they're actually hanging from the surface of the water, breathing through their siphon, which comes out of their posterior end. And then
So they stick their butt up into the air.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then they go through 4 stages that look kind of like this, but get bigger. And then there are some little round guys. There's some little round ones that also swim, but they look different than these long wrigglers, and they kind of tumble. They are the pupae, and they are the last aquatic stage. After they develop through their pupal stage, they will emerge as adults, which
As
you
adults,
can see
which these are.
up here. Yep.
Happy, looking for blood.
And the female adults, at some point, will look for a blood host. They'll look for a blood meal, and they're attracted by what we breathe, or what we breathe out. So CO2. So if you blow in there, they will become, of course, stage fright. There you go. You got it. They like that. They like the
my.
CO2, and they become more active, and that's how they find what they're going to bite to get blood.
So okay.
And then,
Wow.
Once they get the blood meal, they're able to produce eggs, and then they lay eggs, which is a little bit hard to see, but in the back there's a big dark mass of floating
Okay.
stuff.
I see
And
that.
those are the egg rafts.
Okay.
And then the cycle starts over.
So do both male and female get attracted by CO2?
No, just
Okay,
the females.
Just the females, okay.
Right, the males are attracted by the females. Pretty much like everything else.
Come on, Neil. All right. So, you have, so, these guys are West Nile virus carriers,
Correct.
potential carriers,
Correct.
because they feed on birds which sometimes have the West Nile virus or body in their
The virus itself.
yeah,
Correct.
in their blood.
Mhm.
Okay. So you have a couple of a few brochures.
I do.
So, and these are so hold up one of them. So this is the all about the Placer Mosquito and Vector Control District. And we can get this how?
This would be by going on our website at placermosquito.org or coming by our office or giving us a call.
And where is your office?
Our office is in Roseville.
And the address is on the website.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So again, placermosquito.org. So there you have some other brochures.
I do. We have one. If you're fascinated by mosquitoes and want to learn more, this gives you a little overview of the mosquitoes that we find in Placer County.
Even if you're not fascinated,
right,
and you feel you're obliged to learn more about them because they can be deadly.
they can be.
Yeah, can be.
They
Okay.
can be.
So this too is available by contacting placermosquito.org or giving them a call at 916-380-5444.
In fact, Susan, there's also another brochure that I don't have with me today that talks about look-alike insects.
Uh-huh.
So there are a lot of insects that are out and about right now that look like mosquitoes but aren't.
Okay.
And that's something that is important to understand as well. So there are a lot of things that don't bite, that don't transmit disease,
Okay.
but to an uninformed viewer, I guess, look like a mosquito, but basically aren't. Things like midges or crane flies.
So
things
these
like
things,
that. Correct.
the no-see-ums.
Right. Yep.
Okay, they're still annoying.
That's right.
Okay.
But the good news on those is that they don't carry the diseases that we're most concerned about.
Okay. I'll forgive the midges. So a mosquito is one kind of vector, correct? And a vector, I have just learned, is an organism such as an insect that transmits a pathogen, which is something that can make you sick or kill you.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you have a couple of other examples.
Sure. So the other vector that we deal with quite a bit in Placer County are ticks.
Yeah.
And ticks obviously can carry a whole host of tick-borne disease.
Yes.
Lyme disease is a very common one. Tick-borne relapsing fever,
Mhm.
things of that sort. There's a smaller handful of different tick species, and some carry some diseases and some carry different ones, and they live in different places. So right now we're kind of coming
Like
out
on animals.
on animals and in the county. So
Yeah.
there will be,
Near plants. Yeah.
or even you'll have different tick species in Roseville compared to Auburn,
Okay.
compared to Lake Tahoe.
Yeah. Okay. I remember learning about Lyme disease
Mhm.
in spring. I learned about Lyme disease in spring.
Mhm.
And then I took a hiking trip with my family
Mhm.
through a trail, on a trail that was constantly overhanging with plants. And
Mhm.
I was never so unhappy to know about what I knew.
That is a danger in our field.
Yes.
You end up knowing a lot.
Yeah.
But really, it comes down to just be safe, be aware of what the risks are, whether it's from mosquitoes or ticks, and take those personal protective measures. So wearing protective clothing, using repellent, and just arming yourself with information by visiting our website and watching shows like this.
Yes, yes, yes. Watching shows like this, Joel mentioned the website, which is again placermosquito.org. So you have another vector that is on your website is yellow jackets.
It is. So I'll add one little bit. Actually, the California Health and Safety Code adds one more bit to your definition. Vectors are insects that carry pathogens, but also can cause harm to people. So a yellow jacket, we have a brochure here that obviously can cause harm, but it doesn't carry disease. So yellow jackets are a kind of wasp. They're different than bees. They're different than the hornets or the mud daubers. Yeah. Yellow jackets are different in that, and the reason we specifically are concerned about them is that they will basically swarm. So they will create a pheromone when they feel threatened. Yeah. And you won't usually just get one bite; you'll get a whole bunch of them, or stings rather. Okay. So we monitor these typically up in the high country. So up near Donner and Tahoe Basin area, although they come all the way down to the down to Roseville and Western Placer as well. And if folks come across a nest around their home or around an area, give us a call. We have all of our technicians have bee suits and have training to be able to find the nests and deal with these nests appropriately and safely. And we can't promise that we can get them every time, but we'll do our very best to try to mitigate the risks to you and your family posed by yellow jackets. I don't want to get stung by a yellow jacket. Yeah, that's happened more than once, and I would rather it never happen again. How did you get involved with this? Wow, so kind of by accident. I ended up going to grad school in UC Davis in integrated pest management, working on invasive weed control. And after graduating there, I had an opportunity to work in mosquito control over in a neighboring county, and one thing led to another, and here I am. So you majored in what? Integrated pest management. Why? Because I got a scholarship to do so through the USDA. But you were interested in it. I was interested. What caught you? So I've always been interested in ecology and biology and also working with people. So I have a background in doing some emergency medicine and search and rescue and being outdoors and working with groups of people in the past life. So combining that with the science and doing something that is environmentally oriented, that can kind of make a difference, protect people, and kind of help folks be safe, be safe and happy. Yes. Kind of hit all those things for me. Yeah. My general manager behind the camera told me that he has there are these kind of citronella. He says he has a citronella plant that he says keeps mosquitoes away. Is that going to happen? So I get these questions a lot, and what I will say is that the mosquitoes do not like to go around the citronella plant. Okay. But unless you are the plant or you're wearing it, it may not have further effects other than to the plant itself. Okay. So if I don't want mosquitoes around my citronella, if I want to keep the mosquitoes from hanging around the plant, I can put all the citronella plants I want to. Absolutely. Okay. But if you don't want them around you, then there's better options than citronella plants. For example. So we have. Wasn't that good? Didn't you like that segue? I was just charmed. So the deal with repellents, and we do have a brochure about choosing the right repellent. This is something that lots of people are interested about, and there are a lot of choices. And I'm not going to tell you here's the best one or here's the worst one. But what I can tell you is there are a lot of repellents that work. There aren't a lot of repellents that work for a reasonable length of time where it's going to be effective in protecting people from getting bitten.
And by define a reasonable length of time.
So if you have something, let's say that citronella plant, you break off a piece and you scrub it on your skin and it keeps mosquitoes away for 3 minutes.
Okay.
Did it work? Yeah, it worked great. It worked great for those 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
But that's not a reasonable amount of time because no one's going to walk around reapplying something every 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So we want to take repellents that will match our activity. Thank you.
Yes.
So the best one that almost everyone's heard of is, this is just in a white form. This is a DEET repellent, and it has 30%, and this will work for a number of hours, especially if you are not sweating or, that sort of thing. So the way all of these repellents work is they go on your skin.
So in the summer,
yeah.
If you're not sweating, it'll work for 3 hours. It'll keep mosquitoes away for 3 hours.
I would say more like 8 hours.
8 hours?
6 to 8 hours, yeah.
Great.
If you're swimming or you're sweating, then it's just getting washed off, so you have to put it back on, right?
Yeah.
So the way this works is it evaporates from your skin and it creates essentially a stinky barrier that the mosquitoes don't like. And they'll go hit that barrier and they will either not land or not bite.
Right.
And they'll fly away. And as soon as that goes away, then it stops working.
It's gone. I'm hungry.
So DEET is one that people either love it or hate it. It works well. It works for mosquitoes and for ticks. So that's really important. So if you're for either one of those vectors, DEET will be great.
And so we spell DEET, D-E-E-T.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a abbreviation for a long name that I'm not going to spell.
Okay.
Okay. So another player that recently on the market is called picaridin.
Picaridin.
Right.
Okay.
So DEET and picaridin are active ingredients in other products. Okay, so I'm showing a product. This is just something that we were able to find locally. But you're not going to see DEET or picaridin. It's not a brand name. You have to look at the ingredients.
Yes. Okay,
picaridin can last for a long time as well, 12 hours or more, depending on the concentration. So ones that have a little bit, like a 5%, not going to last as long as one that's 20%. Okay, picaridin is safe for adults and kids as long as it's used according to the label. And
so you don't wash your hair with it. You don't drink it. You don't put it in your eyes. You don't.
Right. You don't. Okay. Exactly. Only use it when you need to.
Yeah.
And, wash it off when you're done. And it works quite well. It doesn't have the same odor as DEET, which some people prefer. And it will work for ticks, but you need to use the higher concentration formulations for that.
Okay. How do you spell picaridin?
P-I-C-A-R.
A-D-E-N?
Okay, hold on. Sorry, you're putting me on the spot. P-I-C-A-R-I-D-I-N.
Okay. P-A-C-A-R-I-D-I-N. Okay. And DEET, D-E-E-T. They're two different ways of getting rid of saying, go away, mosquito.
Right. And I would say, if we stopped right there, those two would give you the best choices for the longest working, effective mosquito repellent and tick repellent.
Okay.
But there's two others, if you want. There's two others that folks will come across, and these are good choices. They're
Coleman
they're
stuff?
Approved by the CDC. This one here has the ingredient called IR3535. And this is the stuff that was in the Avon Skin So Soft skin lotion. It actually was kind of a accident, but it works. It works for shorter periods of time. So if you're just out watering your lawn or something like that, and you want to put this on, and you're not going to be out all day or all evening.
All right.
Perfect. And then this one over here is the only quote unquote natural product It is the lemon, oil
Chopped
of
up
lemon
mosquitoes, so they
eucalyptus.
recognize that, no.
Right,
I'm
oil
sorry.
of lemon eucalyptus, and this works well too. It doesn't work as long. You have to reapply it a lot. And this is the only one, believe it or not, that's not recommended for children under 2.
Okay. So we have several things. Good.
And everything else I would look at carefully and make a good choice about using it based on how long it's going to last. So
Okay.
if it's something that lasts for 2 minutes,
Okay.
it's probably not a good choice.
All right.
And there's more information on our website.
Yes, I know. That's an impressive website. Lots of information there. So go on to placermosquito.org. Again, that's placermosquito.org. So, is there I don't have this question on my list. Is there a question you'd like to be asked that I haven't asked yet?
I like to be asked questions that are link this stuff to people's day-to-day lives. So I love it when people say, "Hey, I saw this," or when those mosquitoes attacked me when I was fishing with my kid. Tell me about those. Are those going to make me sick? What do I have to do? Because it really makes it personal. Because
What do you have to do when mosquitoes attack you?
Well, I guess it would be wearing the repellent, understanding what kind of mosquitoes there are. I fish quite a bit, and when I go up into the mountains during the spring, like now, there are a lot of mosquitoes. Those aren't the ones that carry West Nile virus, and that's great. It's not great because I'm getting bitten, but it gives me a little peace of mind that I can wear my long sleeves. I can be aware of where I am in the environment, be away from that standing water, wear my repellent, and I can get through my outdoor experience with relatively few bites, and not a risk of getting West Nile. Whereas later in the season, I'm outside in the evening, chopping wood or mowing my lawn, and I'm in an area that has West Nile. I need to be more cognizant of putting on that repellent.
Okay.
You can always find out where the risk of getting West Nile is by going to our website and looking at our news bulletins, and we give ideas of where we're finding our infected dead birds, which are reported by the public. That's something that folks can do really to help us out. If you find a dead bird, call us at 916-3880-5444.
Again, that's 916-380-5444.
Or go on the website and report a dead bird. That helps us get that information. And also they can sign up for spray notifications and things like that.
Okay.
Now, for folks in the Auburn area, the thing to understand is that you're right in between the area that has a lot of West Nile and the area that hardly ever has, or actually never has West Nile.
Yeah.
But you're right in the middle.
West Nile is mostly found in
to the west of here, and
and
hardly at all to the east.
Okay.
So, which means you're right on the edge, which means I think folks need to be even more cognizant.
Okay.
So, be more cognizant where your repellent.
Yeah.
Use this as a resource.
You might be scared to death, but at least we know where to go to find answers.
Right.
Thank you. My guest has been Joel Buettner, General Manager, Placer Mosquito and Vector Control District. And if you want to find out more information, and you should, go on to placermosquito.org or give them a call, 916-380-5444. I've learned a whole bunch, and I really appreciate the information you've given me, and I am happy that you've been my guest. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you for watching.